Hi, my name's Duncan and welcome to Tackle Fanatics TV. Today we're going to be running through a couple of bottom bait rigs which we think you could put into your angling. They're really effective. We've had loads of fish on today, as you can see. That's the reason I'm soaking wet. I haven't fallen in. We've had quite a few. Even just trying to start this video, we've actually had to reel the rods in because it's been that hectic, but I suppose that's a good thing. The use of pop-up presentations such as the Ronnie, the Chod and the multi-rig seem to be really in vogue at the moment and are greatly successful rigs in the right situation. But sometimes presenting a bottom bait on a well thought out rig can be much more subtle, give brilliantly secure hook holds and maybe pick up those fish that have come wise to pop-ups off the deck. Having the weight of a bottom bait as opposed to a buoyant pop-up gives the rig's mechanics a whole different perspective, and creating a rig that flips and turns in the point of your hook into the carp's bottom lip offers a rock solid hook hold and the best chance of you landing that hard-earned bite. The pattern you choose, the length of your rig, the lead arrangement, the hook link material and the components and how they all work together are all small parts of what makes an effective rig, along with the most important of all, hook sharpness. There is a huge array of hook patterns for bottom bait fishing, but we'll focus on two that will cater for the majority of angling scenarios. All the top brands offer a wide gape hook in their range, and these patterns have been designed around the same principle. Their wide gape, beak point and slightly in-turn eye make them perfect for bottom bait angling. This style of hook is ideally suited for presenting over hard bottoms where stones and other hard objects can often turn your beautifully sharp point into a blunt mess and render your rig next to useless. This style of hook almost acts like a claw, and once it's penetrated it tends to grip really well. The best way of incorporating this pattern into an effective carp rig is to create what many anglers like to call the claw rig. The mechanics of this hinge around the weight of the bait helping the hook to pivot, drive down into the bottom of the mouth. Having the shrink tube helps the point turn down, whilst a small piece of silicone transfers the weight of the bait onto the point, dragging in the mouth to catch hold as the link tightens. This rig performs superbly when using the palm test. The speed the point flips depends on the lead system and the length of your hook link, but a 6 to 10 inch link seems to work best over the majority of bottoms, as it gives the carp enough rope to hang itself by taking the bait and part of the hook link into its mouth, but not so much that your leg system doesn't come into play before being ejected. A nice little plump winter common. This fell to the claw rig, and as you can see it was absolutely nailed. It's a rig that really is effective whether you're fishing for little ones like this or big ones. The hook holds are fantastic on it. As I said, the rig flips and turns. The combination of the shrink tube and the beak point helps to keep the hook in position during the fight, and is great for those that like to or have to use barbless hooks in their angling. A shorter link will work well, especially over hard bottoms, but can restrict the movement of the rig and the extent it can be taken into the mouth. Try adapting the length of your rig, not only to suit the bottom, a longer link for softer bottoms and a shorter for harder, but try and think about your baiting. A spreader bait with tools such as a throwing stick or catapult will get the carp grobbling around and moving between each bait, making a longer link more effective. Shorter links work better with tighter beds, as carp tend to only move short distances between each mouthful. Another bottom bait hook that's ideal for venues with a barbless only rule is the curve shank. These are also produced by an array of manufacturers, but as long as they are strong, have an aggressive curve pattern and good out the packet sharpness, they will grip securely into the carp's lip thanks to their swept shank shape. All these hooks boast straight points, which are excellent for catching hold and penetrating. When whipped up the shank about a third of the way, there is enough separation between the bait and the hook, but the hook sits hanging down behind the bait ready to grab hold. Although this straight point is more vulnerable for being dinked on hard bottoms, I have used this rig on rock-strewn bottoms with a river Ebro and close to home on the tidal Thames, where hooks are subjected to the harshest punishments possible, and they've still performed. Maybe it's the shape of the hook or how it sits that helps shield this delicate dagger-like point. The advantage of using this style of hook is that there really isn't any need for shrink tube or silicone, and arguably it's as effective as the claw rig with similar mechanics. Unlike the claw, the curved shank is tied so the hook hangs down ready to catch in the lip, much like the KD rig. This gives the hook more movement and relies on its aggressive shape of the hook to catch hold. Although this rig doesn't perform very well with the palm test, when it's deployed out in the pond, the way that the hook positions itself behind the bait when it's sucked in makes it absolutely deadly. Both these rigs are fantastic in their own right. though you could argue one is better than the other in different ways, and many anglers have their own opinion. The curve pattern hook, when employed with a hanging talon rig, which you could call it, much simpler to prepare, and is great for those who want an easy to tie rig that still has fantastic hooking abilities. The hook pattern is less prone to being rendered useless when being damaged on the hard bottom, and does pass the palm test extremely well, but this rig is more tricky and complicated to tie. There are lots of variations of these rigs, and the materials you can use for the hook links and the actual components can be tweaked to suit your angling, but the basic principles remain the same. The way these are presented is also important, whether it be a helicopter setup for softer bottoms, a lead clip arrangement for your river angling, or fishing an inline system for rock hard gravel. The sharp hook integrated into a well-tied rig is far more important than an all-singing, all-dancing rig with all the whistles and bells tied with a blunt hook. Just remember, it's all the small things combined that make a big difference. So this fish come a bit out of the blue, had a bit of a lull in the action, but this is on the curve shank, sort of almost semi-KD rig, which doesn't pass the palm test very well, but seems to hook them really well. And actually, this is surprising. This is a mirror, which, as far as I know, there's only literally a handful in the lake, and I think this is one that actually is my son's PB as well. It's about 16-17 pound last time he had it, and there we go, it's in the net. Superb. As I said, there's a lot of commons in here, so to have a mirror is a result. So we'll get it on the mat and see what the hook holds like. But yeah, I'm really pleased with that. Well, this lovely clean Park Lake mirror was caught on the curve shank rig. It was a decent hook hold, not the best in the world, but the hook link was quite long, so I'd imagine that probably came into play a little bit, probably a little bit too long for the bottom, but a lovely mirror. One of the lads who's just next to us now said he had this at 19 pounds, so we're not going to bother weighing it, but it's the biggest fish I've had out of this lake, and to have it in late autumn or early winter now is a real result. I'm very pleased with that. Lovely fish. Tackle Fanatics stock an extensive range of end tackle bits from all the leading manufacturers. To check out all our Rid Bits features today, log on to www.tacklefanatics.co.uk. Many thanks for watching, and tight lines.